Right, okie dokie. Let's learn all about isometric sketching. So isometric sketching is a technical drawing style which allows you to see three sides of an object evenly. So for those of us who think that we can draw an isometric cube by drawing two squares and then joining them up, now that is a really impressive and amazing skill, but this is actually a technique called oblique drawing, and with oblique drawing you can see 100% of the front face of whatever it is that you've drawn and only about maybe 30% of the other two sides, which means that your image isn't actually accurate. So with isometric it is, because you can see every side evenly. So let's look at how to draw it. Now you might want to pause after each step and then copy it yourself, almost like an I do you do activity to help you learn the steps. But there's 5 different stages. So stage number 1, we are just going to draw ourselves a nice line running downwards. Stage number 2, we're now going to draw our nice line going downwards, but this time we are going to use a dotted line to turn it into a T. Now I've turned it into a T because with isometric we have these angles. So all of our corner angles are going off at 30 degrees, 30 degrees. And this little dotted line is going to help us if we're not too sure what that looks like. What we don't want our line to look like is a Y. We don't want it to look like a Y. That's far too short. We kind of want to go just a little bit above that dashed line. So think of it like it's a stick man doing the YMCA, but he's really, really tired. He's not got enough energy, so his arms come a little bit lower. He's a bit lazy, all right? So what I'm going to do is put my pencil at the top, and I'm just going to move it off to the right-hand side, and then I'm going to copy that line, almost like a mirror image on the other side. So that's step number 2. Step number 3, we are going to repeat all of these stages again. So we've got our line going downwards, and then we've got our arms coming upwards. There we go. And you also want to think of this almost like a middle line, because everything you do on one side, you want it to look the same on the other. Just for this practice, because we're going to be creating a cube, so we want it to be even. And now what we want to do is we want to create 2 more lines going up at an angle, but at the bottom of this line here. And we're going to be using a process or a technical term called parallel. So I'm going to create this exact line at the bottom and make sure they are parallel. Parallel means 2 lines that will always run alongside each other. They'll never ever meet. So think of like train tracks. They can go in, diagonal direction. They don't have to just be straight, but they will never ever cross over. So if your line is coming up a little bit too high, that's not parallel, because these 2 lines here will run over one another. They will meet. So same again on the other side. We want to have a parallel line coming from the bottom to the other corner. So that's step 3. Step 4 is we're going to do steps 1, 2, 3 all over again. So line going downwards, a bit of a wonky line there. Angles coming up. And also notice how I'm not using a ruler. We don't use rulers here. We're going to do everything freehand, because it's important to know these skills freehand. What I want to do now is I want to turn this into a book. I want to turn this into a book. And to turn it into a book, I'm going to do some more parallel lines. So I'm going to use this line in the middle. I'm going to draw 2 lines, one either side, and they're going to be parallel. So they're going to run alongside each other. They're never going to meet. So I'm going to draw one here. There you go, parallel line. And now I want to draw another one here, but I'm going to try and keep the distance the same if I can. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit off. We're just practicing, we're learning. This one's a little bit shorter. That's okay. We're practicing, we're learning this skill. But now I've got an open book. Do you want? No, I'm sorry, that's going to annoy me. Sorry. But if this only annoys me because I've been doing it a lot longer than you. There we go. That's better. So I have no excuse. You have every excuse, because you are learning this skill, and that's a good thing. So let's go to step number 5. Now, this is the trickiest step. So I'm actually going to draw it a little bit bigger for you to just make sure that you can fully see what I'm up to. So I'm going to repeat all these stages again. So we're going to do our line coming down. We're going to do our line coming up. Line coming up to it. Oops, stickman doing YMCA, but he's been a bit lazy. Notice how I'm making my lines really long. That is absolutely fine. We can do that because we can overlap our lines and then just remove the bits that we no longer need. So please don't, because one common problem that people come up with is when they draw their line, and they do a great job, an absolutely fantastic job at doing this, like getting their angles at the top and at the bottom. They do a brilliant job. But then if any of the two lines are a bit shorter, when they come to do the book, instead of doing parallel, they just join it up. But then that's not an isometric cube. It might be an isometric shape of some form, but it's not what we're after. So it doesn't matter if your lines overlap. Like, honestly, it really doesn't matter. We're learning this skill, so don't worry about that. We can just erase them. Look, it's really not the end of the world, which is also why we always use a pencil. Okay, so if I just draw your attention to this cube here, the top of my cube is made out of 4 triangles. Now I have just noticed that the top of my cube is not even, so I'm also going to have to fix this as well. But I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to take from this middle line here, I'm just going to draw a dotted line going upwards, and then I'm going to join these 2 edges together. There you go. Just a dotted line, doesn't be perfect. And now when I say it's made by 4 triangles, I'm just going to add my line back in. Oh, there we go. So I have 4 triangles here. I've got 1 triangle, 2 triangles, 3 triangles. Oh, I went off my line. And 4 triangles. Oh, what's happening? This was all going so well. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. So I have 4 equal triangles. So the reason that I do this little dotted line at the top is because it's going to help me. So if we come back to here, we do our line coming from the middle all the way to the top. It can go wherever, it's not bothered. And then connect these 2 corners together. Right. I now have my 2 triangles. And what I'm going to do from the center line, I'm going to go from the corner to the middle. And now I'm going to go up, but I'm going to try and make it the same distance as this one here. And I think that's about there actually. I'm quite happy with that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to join up my corners to that middle point there using a nice straight line. And if I do it correctly, they will be parallel to the opposite. There we go, like so. And that is my isometric cube. So let's just do that again. I'm not going to talk this time. You can just watch. You can just watch. There you go. So that was the process. I really hope you found that okay to follow. I hope you found it useful, and happy sketching.